Talktainment Radio Worldwide Sound. Talktainmentradio.com. We give you a reason to come. The world's greatest radio. We give you a reason to stay. Radio, the way it should be heard. You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guest and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, the management, the staff, or K&E World Network, LLC.
Live call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
This is All in Our Family. I'm S. Yolanda Robinson. We are all family. All in Our Family, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard. TalkTainmentRadio.com. You're listening to All in Our Family, and I'm S. Yolanda Robinson, and this is radio, the way it should be heard. Oh, listening audience, I got to give a shout out to that Federal Employed Women's Association and Blacks in Government. Did we have a outstanding, it was awesome, candidates forum, and they did a wonderful job, and I'd like to thank them for inviting me and Kahari out to be the MC. And but I have some more announcements I wanted to talk about. If today is actually November the 6th. So if you're listening and it's the week of November 6th, the Sigma Gamma Rho is going to be having the Founders Day luncheon, and that's going to be at the Boathouse. That's for scholarships. And also coming up in on November the 10th. Is one of my favorite churches, Mount Gershom. They make the best spaghetti in the world, but they're going to be honoring the veterans, and that's going to be on November the 10th on Sunday. So if you're a veteran, you could bring your family. They're going to feed you and honor you for Veterans Day. So I plan to be out there. And then also coming up is the best tailgate party in Columbus. I tell you, it's with 100 black women. And, Kahari in Ohio is going to be coming in supporting Michigan. But, we love him anyway. But, some of our friends are from Michigan. So if you're some of our friends and you're supporting Michigan, you're welcome to the party. We have the tailgate. It is an awesome party. So if you need tickets, we got everything. We're going to have ribs, chicken, fish, lobster casserole, marosas, and we're going to have a good time. And now everybody that was there last year is coming back this year. So if you want to join us, it's you just give us a call at 614-572-1310 or go to 100blackwomencolumbus.org and you can purchase your tickets. But I got something that we all should know. And I got an expert in the studio, Marvin Smith with American Family Insurance, and he's going to tell us some of the things that we don't know about insurance. How are you today, Marvin?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great.
That's good.
You got all these credentials next to your name. His credentials take up a whole line, y'all. You've been busy.
Absolutely.
But that means I got a real expert, somebody that really knows what they're talking about. But Marvin, would you tell us, how did you get involved in insurance, and what made you want to be an insurance? You got your own agent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. When I was in college, actually, I was looking for a third job during my last semester of school. And yes, I did say third job.
Three jobs? Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. I have bills, so even though I'm still trying to get the grades.
You had to be a member of my family. All of us usually have 3 or more jobs.
Absolutely. No excuses. No excuses. And back then I was looking in the Columbus Dispatch for jobs, and actually a super regional company here had a position open, and the hours fit, the hourly wage fit, and so I began working at that company actually in the microfiche department. And that at the end of my graduation, they actually had a career path program. And so between the 3 jobs, I had to make a decision which path that I want to go. And so insurance just landed on my lap, and 23 years later, here I am.
Oh, wow. Wow. And so you've been in, well, I know you know what you're talking about, for 23 years.
Yes.
Now, what has been your biggest challenge in those 23 years of being in insurance, having your own agency, being an agent? What has been your biggest challenge?
Well, speaking for being an agent, one of my biggest challenges, honestly, is balancing the marketing and the budget. In order for you to be successful in this business, you're going to have to get out and do a lot of networking, a lot of marketing. And as you can imagine, doing the right kind of marketing costs a lot of money. So when you're a small business, you got to do a really good job at balancing your income and your funds, and also balance how much marketing that it's going to take in order for you to get to where you want to be. The other challenge I would say is just growing my business because of all the competition. There's all kinds of independent agents as well as captive agents like myself. So as you can imagine, we live in a big city, so there's a lot of business out here, but when you're a small business and you're up against a big fish, it can be really competitive.
Oh, okay. Now, how do you manage that? What do you do to be competitive, and what some of the things that you do?
Well, one of the things that I realized and recognized a long time ago is people do business with people they like. So one of the things I do is spend a lot of time networking, talking to people. There's not a stranger that I will ever meet. Wherever I go, I'm networking. I heard a long time ago you should network where your feet are. And so that's what I do. And so I do a lot of networking, whether it's billboards or radio or TV advertising, but then also sending out a lot of postcards. The other thing that I pride myself in as an insurance agent is I don't sell on price. I sell on what the client actually needs, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm concerned about, is how can I help protect you and make sure you have the adequate coverages for your insurance policies.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like really good, because, when you do it on a need, that's really like doing it to help your client.
Absolutely.
And in the 23 years that you've been in the insurance agency, what has been some of your biggest successes?
Well, so I'll talk a little bit about when I worked on the corporate side. I was in multiple roles as an underwriter, sales management, and underwriting management. And one of the things that I think that I excelled very well in was being a salesperson, being able to go out and work with a lot of independent agents, getting them to use our company as opposed to the competition. And honestly, I feel like those 13 years of experience on the corporate side really helped me when I transitioned into being an agent with American Family, because I already understood the underwriting process. I already understood what it takes to make up the prices, all the factors that go into that. So when I'm talking to customers, it made it very easy for me to help them understand what they were paying for.
Okay. Now, did college help you? Do you have to go to college to have your own agency? And if you do, since you do have a degree and all these credentials next to your name, was it very, very helpful for you?
So my undergrad degree was in family financial management. So that goes hand in hand with insurance. There are insurance courses that you can take in college, of course, and I believe there's actually a major in insurance. But I don't know a lot of people that go to college to become an insurance agent. It's not necessary for you to go to college to become an insurance agent. Actually, I know quite a few people that started in the agency almost out of high school. So they've been in the agency for 20 years and they're barely 40 years old. But it does not take going to college to be an insurance agent. However, if insurance is something you're interested in and you're in college, then it's not a bad idea to take that up as a major.
Okay. So, insurance is a big thing. What are some of the things, that we may not know about insurance? That's the title of our program. What things does an average person may not know about insurance?
I think, first of all, people need to understand insurance is not expensive. Now, I do understand that it is relative, okay, based off of one's income, but there are a lot of different factors that go into coming up with insurance rates. So if you have your friend saying, hey, I pay $80 a month for their insurance, that doesn't mean you could call me or any other insurance company up or agent and say, hey, I have a friend paying $80. I should be able to pay $80 too because I'm the same age. But there are a lot of different factors that make up insurance rates, and the average person doesn't understand what those factors are. But again, that's what you have me as an agent for, to help educate you on what makes up your rate. So first and foremost, it's not expensive.
Okay.
The second thing is you need it. I'm pretty sure if you're involved in any type of accident, whether it's with your car or somebody does something to your home, you would hope that they have insurance to help protect you. So everybody needs insurance. Whether you know that or not, you do need insurance. And then last but not least is you can cover anything with insurance. I believe there are a lot of people out here that are really underinsured because they don't realize, hey, I've got a wedding ring that's valued at $10,000 that's not even scheduled on my homeowner's policy. Yeah, you need to schedule that. So there are a lot of personal items, whether they're collectibles or things passed down throughout the family that can actually be scheduled either on your homeowner's policy or through another type of policy in the marine policy. But you don't realize the coverages you don't have until you actually have that loss.
Oh, yeah.
But you can cover pretty much anything.
Now, it's, speaking about covering things, is it a good idea, like if you have some things that you consider valuable, maybe some artwork or an antique that is down from, generations in your family, is it a good idea to have pictures of it and take it, have it in your files, in your insurance files?
Absolutely. The first thing I tell all my clients is I am not the claims expert. So when I say that, what I'm saying to you is I can't tell you that it is or it is not going to be covered, but what I can tell you is what I would suggest you do to make sure that if coverage is an issue, you dotted all your I's and crossed your T's. So whenever I'm writing a renter's policy or even a homeowner's policy, I always tell people if you have items valued at over, say, $2,500, let's take pictures of them. Let me attach them to your file so that in the event of a theft or a fire, it's easy for us to just look at your file, see what items you actually had, and then go ahead and decide how we're going to settle that claim. So yes, it's absolutely a great idea to take pictures, and if you have any type of appraisal for those items, definitely you want to get those to your insurance agent so that he or she can attach them to your policy.
Okay, so the insurance agent keeps those on file along with you? You make sure your insurance agent has those pictures?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure, like many other agents, we're paperless today. So if you take those paper items in, or everybody's using their cell phone to send text messages and pictures, then what we do is, at least at my agency, we attach that to the file electronically. So I don't keep paper files in the office, but whether I'm at home or I'm in the office, I can pull up your file and see what documents you have, and that would help settle your claim at any given point.
So that $10,000 wedding ring that Mr. Wright gave you, or Mrs. Wright gave you.
Right.
You want to get a picture of that, y'all.
Oh, you absolutely do. You absolutely do want to get a picture of that, and send that appraisal in there too.
All right. Okay. Now that's something that people don't know. But there's so many different types of insurance. There's universal life. There's term. There's whole life, and I don't know what else is out there. But could you tell me when should you buy term insurance, and what is term insurance?
Okay, well, and actually what I'll do is I'll tell you the difference between all three of them. Life insurance is something that I am definitely passionate about. Life insurance is a topic that many people and families don't like to have. It's a discussion we don't like to have, but let's face it, it's a way that we've all got to go. And so we need to be prepared for when that day comes, when God decides to pick his garden, that we are not having a GoFundMe account, or we're not having to have a fish fry in order to bury your loved one. So at American Family Insurance, we have term life policy, and we also have whole life policies, and you also mentioned universal life. So a term life policy is just that. It's a insurance policy that will cover you for just that. 5, 10, 15, 20, or 30 years. The payments on that term policy are going to be consistent. So if you lock in today at a 30-year term policy, you're not going to have to worry about your rates fluctuating on an annual basis. It's going to stay the same for that term, 5, 10, 15, 20, or 30 years. At the end of that term, the policy just cancels out. You don't have any more insurance, but there's also an option for you to convert that over into whole life throughout that term, or there's an opportunity for you to continue that policy at an annual renewable rate, which will eventually get too expensive. So that's term life. The next policy is a whole life policy. And a whole life policy, again, is just that. It's a life insurance policy that will cover you for your whole life. At American Family Insurance, we will actually cover you up to 120 years old. But you would only pay on that policy. One of the payment options is to pay on it until you're 100 years old. But even still, we've got people that are living a lot longer today. So that's why, yes, we will cover you up to 120 years old. The neat thing about the whole life policy that's different from the term policy is it has a cash value component, which means that while you are alive, you do have access to the cash value in your whole life policy. So a lot of people can use a whole life policy for different reasons, whether it's for retirement benefits, or it's just to make sure that they have this emergency savings account, if you will, put to the side as they're making their monthly payments on a whole life policy. And then the universal life policy, it's basically the same as a whole life policy. It has a cash value, but it has a flexible payment schedule. As things change in our life, I may not be able to make the same $50 a month payment for my life insurance policy. So with the universal policy, you do have the option to go in and change some of your payment options, or at some point maybe even stop making a payment on your policy and wind up having a paid up whole life policy or universal policy.
Is there? I mean, how much does it cost for the average, final expense? What is how much does it normally cost?
So I did a little bit of research yesterday, and I found out that it's probably between $10,000 and $15,000 to have a decent burial. So when we say final expenses, I'm thinking, what is the cost to have a decent burial for my loved one? So when I'm talking to individuals about life insurance, if they say I just want to make sure that I have something to bury myself with, then I usually encourage them to get a $15,000 whole life policy. But of course you can get more than that if you want, but if you want just enough to make sure that we have enough to have a decent funeral for you, then I would probably say between $10,000 and $15,000.
And how long, how long does it normally take the insurance company to pay for, the final expense? Because I noticed that when you go to the funeral home, I heard that back in the day you could just say, I got a policy, and they'll start. But now they want their money before they even start.
Open the door. I've heard situations where they actually would not let you have a funeral until they got their final payment.
Until they got their final payment. So
absolutely.
How long does it take for that to happen? I mean, from the insurance point.
Yep. So it can actually take anywhere from 3 days to 7 days on an average. But with American Family, through August of this year, it has taken us an average of 2 days to get a check to that family member. And actually, we do have an option now to where you can get your benefits via EFT. So, of course, that means you can get your payments a lot sooner than snail mail.
Yeah, so EFT, before the audience, what does EFT do? What's that acronym?
Electronic funds transfer.
Okay, so you can just get it in have it sent to you in the bank if you have the proper ID and all that.
Absolutely. The sooner, and I apologize.
That's okay.
The sooner an individual gets the death certificate to their insurance agent and they report it to the company, the sooner they'll be able to get that check out to them. So it's definitely realistic to believe that you're going to get your benefit from that policy before you have that funeral service, probably within the next week or so.
Oh, okay. Now, is there can you be overinsured?
Yes, you can be overinsured. A lot of times that may happen due to an inflation factor that is put in your homeowner's policy. So you bought a house today and we value the house at $230,000. Well, 5 years from now, that house may be valued at $250,000. So there's an inflation factor that's put in homeowners policies that tries to make sure that the cost of your house does not cause you to be underinsured due to inflation. And so there could come a point to where we've got your house insured for $260,000 and really it's only $230,000 or $240,000. We can go back in and readjust those rates, and I'm speaking specifically for homeowners policies. But yes, there is an occasion where you can be overinsured. But let me say this. I'd rather be overinsured than underinsured.
I know that's right. I know that's right. The worst thing you can do is be underinsured.
Absolutely.
You know, can you be denied insurance?
Oh, you can certainly be denied for insurance.
Wow.
One insurance company does not fit all. Okay. You can be denied insurance because of the number of violations you have. You can be denied insurance because the vehicle that you drive doesn't fit the auto program. So maybe it's a classic vehicle, needs to go on another program, or maybe it's a van that needs to be on a commercial policy. You can be denied based on all of those factors. One of the main reasons why is basically your loss history. So you definitely can be denied auto insurance and homeowners insurance. The neat thing that I like about being an American Family Insurance agent is we do have an internal broker that we use. So if I can't rate it through our program and you're denied due to your violations or past loss history, I can typically write it through my broker.
Oh, okay. Now, what about your credit? What does your credit have to do with you getting insurance?
I know this is a touchy subject here.
Things happen and your credit is not the best, and then they say you can't, they go up on your policy.
Well, there has been studies have shown that there has been a direct correlation between people with bad credit and people with good credit and the number of accidents or violations that they have and that they turn in. So while credit does play a piece of the rating that goes into coming up with your rates, it is not a hard hit on your credit score. It's a soft hit. But as you can imagine, people don't quite understand why credit comes into play. But again, when studies have been done to show that there's a direct correlation between people with high credit scores and the number of claims they turn in versus people with low credit scores and the claims that they turn in. Now, I'll also say, credit's not going to be a determining factor in whether or not we insure you. It's just one of the many other factors that we take into consideration when we come up with a rate for you.
What about the neighborhood you live in?
Oh, the neighborhood does that. We call that a territory factor. So when you're coming up with rates for insurance, yes, it does cost a little bit more if you live out in the suburb as opposed to the inner city, or if you live in one territory, not the one territory, but if you want to live in one zip code as another, opposed to another, there is a territory factor that is considered there. So, and a lot of people don't understand that either.
So you said territory factor. So if you're in maybe 43201 versus 432 whatever, and one of them has a territory factor, what is what would be one of those things that would be considered about? Is it a crime or?
Well, yes, and let me back up for a second too. I said it would be more if you live out in the suburbs as opposed to inner city. I think that's reversed. When you consider living in a congested population, there's more cars on the road, so there's more likelihood that you're going to have an accident. So the rates there would typically be a little bit higher than if you live out in the suburbs or somewhere else where there's not as much congestion. In terms of how does this affect your rate? Yes, it could be an area that has a lot of crime. Again, not being the expert when it comes to underwriting and coming up with the rates for American Family, there are different factors that they take in consideration. And I believe that whether the crime rate or the number of accidents in a particular zip code, they do come into consideration. And that's why you have different territory factors.
Also, if I'm a renter, do I need to have insurance? I mean, after all, I don't own the property.
You had to mention renter's insurance, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't own the property. Why do I gotta have insurance?
Well, I'll share a personal story with you because I went through this back in 1999. I was in graduate school at that time, and I lived in an apartment, and I worked at an insurance company at the time, and didn't think I needed insurance, renter's insurance, because I live in Columbus, and I actually got the call one day that my apartment building had burned down to the ground, and guess guess what?
Wow.
I, as an underwriter, did not have renter's insurance and lost everything I owned. As a matter of fact, I think there are still people waiting to kick me in the rear just because it didn't make sense for me not to have renter's insurance. So I sell more renter's insurance today than any other policy because I've been through it. It is very important for you to have renter's insurance because renter's insurance covers your personal items on the inside of your home. So if you leave your house and somebody decides to break in and steal your big screen TV or your clothes, your furniture, all of that's protected under your renter's policy. And so I like to look at it like if we take your house or your apartment that you're renting and turning it upside down, everything that falls out of it is considered your personal property. Why wouldn't you want to protect that in the event of a fire? And so it's very important for individuals to have a renter's insurance policy.
Is it very expensive?
Not at all. You can get a renter's insurance policy for as low as $15 a month. I've actually had some that are like $11 or $12 a month, but it really comes down to what other policies do you have that you can bundle to get those maximum discounts.
Okay. Now, why should people, I mean, you've already said it, but I want you to reiterate it. Why should we have insurance, and how important is it, you know, to have it in your budget, to have insurance? Why should we?
Well, I don't know about your financial situation, but as far as me, I don't have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 just sitting around in a savings account that I would not mind taking out and paying for an accident that I had. Hopefully I'm going to be using that for retirement. And so the main reason to have insurance is because you can buy it for basically pennies on the dollar in the event of an accident. And having insurance is the responsible thing to do. So you get in an accident and there's 3 people involved there and they all have high medical bills. I think you would feel more comfortable knowing that you have high limits of liability on your auto policy so that you can take care of everybody involved in that accident. And it's much easier to do it that way than to have to liquidate your home or to garnish your wages for you to pay their medical bills.
Now, earlier you talked about filing a claim and you know, they look and see how many, you know, how much time. I think, no, you didn't. But if you file too many claims, can you lose your insurance and your insurance goes up if you have too many claims?
You absolutely can wind up being non-renewed for having too many claims. The job of the insurance company is to make sure that we make you whole when you file a claim. So we're going to do the responsible thing to make sure that we take care of you. But at some point, as you can imagine, the insurance company has to decide when is it time to cut their losses. We've had you insured, for an example, for 1 year, but you've already had 3 claims. At some point, we've got to say, there's no way we're going to get our money back here. We're going to have to non-renew this person, and maybe they're going to be getting they're going to be written in another market with another carrier that's going to charge a higher rate. And also, if it's not being non-renewed, yes, insurance companies will typically raise your rate after you submit a claim. I think the thing that I always try to express to individuals when I'm talking to them is, let's say I wrote your auto policy and you paid us $1,000 a year for that policy. Your first accident, we had to pay $2,500 to fix your car. We're now down $1,500. How are we going to recoup that money? And so that's why insurance companies wind up increasing your rates so that we can somehow, some way begin to recoup that money. But it's money shared across the landscape with everybody with insurance.
Now, I read somewhere you can be denied, they can cancel you at any time. I thought they had to wait a year. But you can be canceled at any time on your insurance?
So there is a look-see period for cancellation. Typically, if there's misrepresentation of information on the application, an insurance company could cancel you immediately. But I do know before they cancel you, I can't call you on Monday and say I'm canceling your policy effective tomorrow. You typically have to give at least a 15 to 30-day notice to give that individual time to find coverage somewhere else. But yes, an insurance company can basically cancel your policy or non-renew your policy at any time, but in most cases I see it ends up being a non-renewal. So we'll give you to the end of your first term and just agree to not renew your contract.
All right. I mean, you got a lot of good information. No wonder you got all those letters after your name. It's been really informative, I tell you. But how can people, if people want to know more information about how to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, I like to say I'm a 24-hour agent. Some people may not like me saying that, but what I mean by that is I work Monday through Sunday. I'm not an 8 to 5 agent. I make house calls if necessary. My office number is 614-986-3105. And then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go on. Repeat
And then
that again.
my cell phone number is 614-625-1496. And I'm not afraid to give out my cell phone numbers because my clients do call me on weekends and after 5 o'clock. But the thing that I realized a long time ago is we need to be accessible to our to our clients. And that's what I am. My clients have access to me. My agency is located on the east side of Columbus at 5340 East Main Street, Suite 202. And my email address is smith7@amfam.com, or you can visit my Marvin Smith Agency website on Facebook.
Thank you, Marvin Smith, with all those letters next to your name. We'd like to thank you. I learned a whole lot today. We'd like to thank you for being on this week's program of All in Our Family. And I'll see you next week. Love you.